This is California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Thank you for joining us. Our guest, Tim Donnelly, he is a member of the California State Assembly. He has also announced his intent to form an exploratory committee to run for governor. Congratulations on your re-election and for your interest in the highest office in California.
Thanks, Brad.
So what made you decide to look at the office of governor?
Well, for a year and a half, I've been traveling the state, and everywhere I go, people have been asking me that. You know, in the beginning, you feel very flattered, and you say, well, thank you, that's very flattering. But after a while, I started asking, who's going to run?
Right.
Who from the conservative side is going to stand up and truly articulate our vision? Who's going to do the work on the ground to really rebuild our party?
Well, let's talk about the rebuilding of the party, because clearly the Republican Party needs to be rebuilt in California. Every single close race in the legislature, assembly, and Senate went to the Democrats. I mean, races no one expected Democrats to win. Someone like Chris Norby, a Republican in Orange County, he lost his assembly seat. 3 U.S. Congresspeople on the Republican side, Dan Lundgren lost his seat, Brian Bilbray lost his seat, Mary Bono Mack lost her seat. I mean, it was just a blowout for California Republicans.
It was a disaster. And it certainly was not foreseeable from the ground. I can tell you that. I was as surprised as anybody. But once you're there and you're doing the the forensic analysis afterwards, one thing became crystal clear, and that was that Prop 30 was sort of the secret weapon.
And let's talk about Prop 30, because I got to tell you, I did not think it would pass. It didn't look strong going in, and yet it got 55% of the vote. That's not close.
Prop 30, with Prop 38 out there,
right,
which was drawing attention to the fact that Prop 30 really, that money wasn't going to go directly to education, it was going to go to the general fund.
Right.
And so I thought for sure that would sink it. I also thought, hey, look at the economy. You start to raise taxes and you're going to wipe out jobs.
But that begs the question about your race for governor, because clearly we have an electorate in California that appears to be trending more progressive, not conservative. I mean, you look at the numbers amongst voters of color. Latinos voting 72% for President Obama. Asian Americans voting 79% for President Obama. These are all voters in California.
See, I think you can make a huge mistake. The only color that's going to matter in the 2014 gubernatorial election is green. It's going to be about whether or not you have a job.
Oh.
And so what have we done in California? We've raised the tax rate to the highest income tax in the entire nation. Business owners, and I'm talking to them every day now, they're leaving. There's a handful who've said, hey, I might stick around just to see if you can pull it out, but we're leaving, or we're moving our residents out of the state, we're taking tax revenue. So in a year, Governor Brown may be coming back to the people and saying, hey, I need more money. Who's he going to tax now? If you've already taxed the most successful people, and they have the flexibility to change their behavior and not deploy their capital, take all their marbles and go home, or move out of the state.
Here's what's interesting. I think the tax message can resonate in California, but what seemed to sink the Republicans in California and nationwide was not the tax message. It was the message on immigration.
I disagree. Immigration was not a major issue in the presidential election.
But
it was not the forefront. The forefront was taxation and jobs.
But then why are Latinos voting so overwhelmingly Democratic? Asian Americans, who voted 31% for Bill Clinton in 1992, over 70% for Barack Obama in 2012.
My theory on that is twofold, and part of it is informed by listening and doing some interviews where people called in. And we did an NPR thing on the Latino vote.
Tim Donnelly appeared on NPR. I'm very impressed.
I go everywhere. You know what was great was 80% of the callers agreed with me. And then they informed us. And one of the things they informed us of was it isn't just about, a big part of it is that the left, including the entire mainstream media, not just news shows, but all the television shows, the comedies, the sitcoms, the dramas.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Bash and demonize Republicans, and they have done such a successful job of painting that we're the party of rich white males, and we don't care about anybody who's poor. Nothing could be further from the truth.
It's Modern Family versus Leave It to Beaver. I mean, I've heard that.
Well, I mean, you could say that, and it was interesting. I did an interview, and when I was finished, the cameraman came up to me and he said, "Look, I'm an immigrant from Romania. I fled communism, and I see communism coming here to the United States." And he's trying to sound the alarm. He said, "Thank you for at least standing up and fighting for this."
But at the same time, there's a tremendous frustration amongst both Democrats and Republicans about immigration issues. And when you look at polling, I mean, the country is moving toward more liberal immigration laws. Voters are supporting Obama's deferred action on the DREAM Act. Voters, they still do want increased border enforcement, but they're a bit nervous about Arizona SB 1070. I mean,
clearly, there's a dilemma. I mean, conservatives look out there and say, we believe in the rule of law. At the same time, we have human beings in front of us, many of whom were brought here as children. So do we feel something for them? Do we say, wow, I really understand the plight. I understand why you came here. I mean, you could make a case in many instances, especially with our closest neighbor and biggest trading partner, Mexico, that many of these people are economic refugees or they're refugees from a drug war. And so we have to have some compassion and we have to have some understanding of that. At the same time, we have to look at what the implications are. What precedent are you setting? What is the future going to be? And of course, you know, because you're interviewing me, everybody always brings up immigration as if that's the only issue.
I know.
Immigration is, just recently was a study was done, $10 billion for the entitlements. So when you raise taxes, part of that is to pay for the entitlements for illegal immigration, but it's also to pay for high-speed rail. It's also to pay for this cap and trade idea that's going to make California less competitive.
And what's ironic is you're running for governor, and yet you would have really virtually no power over the immigration issue. I mean, the U.S. Supreme Court basically slapped down Arizona on their attempts.
And one of the reasons I think people will support me is because I'm willing to at least talk about it. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to hide. Hey, you're welcome to disagree with me. But you can't deny that this is a huge issue that has not been resolved by either party. And now that the Republicans are saying, oh, we're just going to do an amnesty and then all the Latinos will vote for us. I don't think so. What I do think is we need to go into the Latino community. We need to meet with leaders. We need to meet with business owners. And we need to do a lot of listening and find out. And I believe from the people that I've met so far, and I've been doing this, is the issues are largely the same. It's family. It's about having a job so you can provide for your family. It's about your kids' future.
There's no doubt that
it's about having a safe community, right. and the border does intersect that when we have cartels down there and we have gang members and we have 12-year-old girls who are sold on the streets.
How do you get?
So they are just like every other American. And I think we ought to treat them that way rather than have a different message because they have a Hispanic surname.
Right, but how do you get around, for example, pictures of Tim Donnelly at the border?
I'm not ashamed of being at the border. You know why I went to the border? I stood up against tyranny. I stood up against this horrific tragedy, this atrocity. There are 60,000 human beings who were killed in the drug cartel war while both governments did absolutely nothing.
Can California do something?
California can do something. We could put the National Guard down there. We could cut off the magnets so that people are not caught in that crossfire coming here for a better life.
As governor, would you send the National Guard to the border? The California National Guard?
I would not rule out any option to do that which is right to protect human life. That is one of the absolute core concepts. That is one of the core duties of government is protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So as we conclude, what will you be doing over the next 2 years to get your message out? How do you speak to 58 counties, 37 million people?
Well, first of all, we're going to get in an RV.
Okay.
And we're going to drive around.
I want to be in that RV.
Well, you're welcome to come out and spend some time with us. But you know what I think is important? And one of the big failures of gubernatorial campaigns, they start at 50,000 feet with tons of money. They don't listen. Californians have great ideas. I think together we can fix this state. So we're going to ask people to give us their input.
Okay. His name is Tim Donnelly, member of the California State Assembly. He is an intended candidate for governor of California. I'm Brad Pomerance. This is California Edition.